was a legend, born on the battlefield.
I have made you the strongest of all my warriors.
An assassin so dangerous, no army could defeat him. Until the day
You must kill the last of their clan.
he refused his mission.
He may burn his past, but he will pay for this betrayal.
The way of the warrior is to play video games a lot.
Really? Is that how it is in the nerd world or geek world or whatever you guys are calling yourselves this week?
Well, I think it's how it is in the world of this movie because clearly actual violence doesn't work this way.
No, nothing works this way. This is a complete fantasy, and with the first 5 minutes of this film really lets you know that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, easily where it's like, okay, this is obviously a fantasy. Nothing in this world is based in the real world, and it was probably written by a 12-year-old. So
Well,
at least that first 5 minutes when you're watching it, because you're like, oh shit, please don't suck.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, I thought you of all people were a fan of like the Asian ninja and samurai films, which that's exactly like those films.
Okay, but the thing is, I'm a huge fan of those, and I've seen it done 100 times better.
Oh, okay.
Especially with an intro to where that's where you grab people. And I've seen plenty of martial arts this past with the last Fantastic Fest, where there's some jaw dropping introductions to some of those movies that I saw, and this one you're just like, oh, okay, everything's CGI. Like the thing you talk about specifically constantly, Cyrus, is CGI blood.
Yeah.
And this had this didn't have any of it. This had like CGI dust coming out of people. It's like
well, the blood spray
and I'm like,
dust, which actually
that's
is
blood spray. Yeah.
Well, that's a standard though. The blood mist is something that is not unfamiliar in the films that it's tributing to.
But I've seen it done way better, and this looked like some kid with his new fucking with his new Mac kind of created these effects because it looked pretty bad, man. Really,
there's no question that this guy is out Zack Snydering Zack Snyder, this South Korean director whose name in our context is probably unpronounceable. It's
Unga.
It's SNGMOO Lee. So
yeah, figure it out, kids.
Lee. Oh, the Shmoo. I used to watch that show. Yeah,
I've never seen that.
But no, okay. So this story is it's a South Korean director, but it's obviously an American production company here because it's got Kate Bosworth and Jeffrey Rush and Danny Houston and that midget from Bad Santa.
Right? Yeah, the midget from Bad Santa. I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Yeah,
I believe he was also in Return of the Jedi.
He's like one of the three reoccurring midgets.
He's the only black midget working right now in Hollywood,
or maybe a dwarf. I'm not even.
Oh, he's a dwarf. I think. Yeah,
dwarf?
he's gonna. Yeah, they call him dwarfs.
I apologize, Mr. Cox.
Exactly. Yeah, we apologize. Don't come and crush our balls, please.
But in this storyline, it's about a warrior in the 19th century named Yang, played by one of the top South Korean actors right now, Jang Dong-gun, who I loved from this Korean movie called the Brotherhood of War.
Okay.
Taegyeok, a multiple award-winning great war movie. But
I never heard of him. But I trust you.
Well, I mean, you don't like the Korean cinema. It's okay.
It's okay. I have nothing against you. Actually,
you're not worldly.
I love Korean cinema. What are you talking about? No, but I've just never heard of this guy. I don't really dive into their dramas all that much.
I couldn't have told you his name if I hadn't looked it up.
Of course. I see.
But anyway, so
your face shoved into that computer monitor. Right?
He's the baddest ass member of a clan of they're presumably ninjas, but they kind of seem to have a samurai code.
They kind of skim over that. They don't really give you an idea. Besides, there are two warring clans.
Yeah, they're both
incredibly badass, apparently. And this guy's main job is to wipe them all out.
Yeah, and in fact, right in the beginning, it says, "Look." His goal, really, personally, was to become the best swordsman in the world, which it tells you with titles when he faces the best swordsman. It goes, this guy's the best swordsman in the world. He takes the guy down in a matter of like seconds, and then the titles scoot over.
Yeah, I know, and that's and that was the first warning sign to where I'm like, oh god, I hope they don't keep doing this annoying shit.
So that kind of made me laugh. I thought that was cute.
It was funny, but I was like, you know what? With this type of film, I wasn't looking for a movie to be cute or quirky. I was like, okay, like really get me into this. And then when it said like the best swordsman ever, at first it said the best swordsman ever, and then you see that title come up ever, like it's like, okay, this was written by 12-year-old, you know.
Well, it didn't say epic win.
Yeah,
so
I know, epic win, exactly. Yeah, and when the enemy died, it didn't say epic fail.
I know.
You know, so.
But anyway, so he defeats him, and his goal is like that was his goal achieved, right? But the goal of his clan was to kill every last member of the other clan, which inside of the box there, the badass formerly greatest swordsman in the world was guarding is a little baby girl
named Sweet Pea.
Sweet Pea.
Which is in fact the last member of the clan, and as you can tell, is totally dangerous.
Yeah, totally dangerous with killing people with her cuteness.
Yeah, well, she is a pretty cute baby.
She was gorgeous. Yeah.
But the badass warrior Yang can't bring himself to kill the baby, so he says, "All right, I'm going to go on the run from my own clan and protect this baby." So he figures the best way to get as far away as possible is get in a boat and go to the New World, which is America. So he's chasing down some old friend who apparently liked to live in fucking bumfuck western middle of nowheresville.
Doing laundry.
Yeah. Who has died for reasons that they never really make clear what exactly happened, but regardless, he's dead. So Yang shows up and to this town that's got a half-built carnival, creepy ass carnival.
It was super creepy.
Yeah, and a bunch of like drunks and losers and a midget sheriff.
I was like, where do you guys keep your zombies at?
Right, I know, it's only a matter of time.
You're waiting for that to happen.
And he decides to make a new life there, and everything seems fine for a while, except that everybody in the town's got their own problems and their own bad guys. Right. Namely, Kate Bosworth is sort of formed an attachment with them. They become friends and maybe a little bit more.
I win.
No. Until your enemy's heart stops, you have not won.
Is that so?
But she's waiting for her own revenge against, I guess it never really says who he is. Some sort of, he looks like he's a military guy that has his own crew of like ne'er-do-wells that he commands to come in and rape and kill and
rape, pillage,
act like a dick. Yeah. That's Danny Houston.
Rape the horses and pillage the dust.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's in CG, you can't tell the difference.
No, you can't.
But Danny Houston's like, is that all you're going to do now? You're just going to scowl in every movie you're ever like, I'm Danny Houston.
Right. He has no cool lines in this like he did in 30 Days of Night.
His final line was pretty cool. I got to hand that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a good line.
that was pretty cool. I give you that.
Yeah, of course it was. You're going to keep giving me little stuff along the way of this review, I bet.
I feel sorry for you sometimes.
Anyway, so I mean, it's only a matter of time before things, break into total chaos.
Of course.
And I gotta say, the biggest weakness of the film is something you mentioned earlier, and it's not the CG, because honestly, I didn't mind that at all. I know what this film was going for. I've seen films that have done the same thing from the East and said, you know what, when it's done right, it can be entertaining. And I thought in the context of what it was trying to do, I thought it worked much better than Ninja Assassin did, which was a tired, old, repeated storyline of the American type of ninja film. This was more... of that sort of like ultimate badass who cannot be stopped by even physics type of thing. And I like that. I thought it was cool. I thought it was it was like Zack Snyder without the keep repeating the same tricks, But what I didn't like was that they wanted to throw some Jean Genet in there, like Delicatessen or Amelie, into the quirkiness level. Like, oh, let's have this quaint, town, and there's like clowns everywhere.
Yeah, I know. It seemed like they were really stretching with that. Not that not that was a big problem, but it just seemed like, I don't know. It seemed like there wasn't enough meat in that script to really like give me a sense of those people, because they seemed all like kind of background. It's one of those movies where you can kind of fill in the blanks as you go along, because I mean, a lot of this movie just seemed like stuff I've already seen before, especially with this story. Just it's like the lone gunman going into a town, meeting a group of misfits who are like constantly getting tormented by bad guys. So eventually at some point he's gonna have to stand up with this town, fight the bad guys, but more than likely the guys who are after him are going to come and really show, like, really just tear this town apart. And, he's going to feel somewhat responsible. So he really has to, like, just go fucking balls out crazy at the end.
But you really can't criticize a film like this for sticking to a familiar genre rule. What it is, it's a hyper-genre hybrid. I mean, it wants you to recognize all that stuff.
The thing is, I get that. I completely get that. My only problem with that is that, I've seen this before, and I've seen it done way better. I mean, honestly, my biggest problem was the lack of just fight scenes where you couldn't really see. They always did these quick cuts to where they were more concerned about the whole art of how they were going to get their blood sprayed across the screen more than what was really being shown. Like, if you're going to show me the ultimate badass warrior, let me see what he can do. Don't show me behind a curtain. Don't show me with blood splattering in like different, artistic ways. I'm like, I want to see the action to really make me feel like this guy can do more than just lift up his sword up into the air and have like 20 heads cut off in the scene where I'm just like, okay, that's cool and all, but I'm not buying it. That would have been cool about 10 years ago, but I've seen so many movies that have done it far better. Like Azumi is one of those films that it's like, okay, that's a film that took the just the art of cinema and mixed it really well with just the art of violence. And
having seen Azumi, I know what you're talking about, but I still feel they were going for something different here. I really don't think that
really.
Was I thought that they were taking elements of that type of film, but that was just a small portion of what they were chasing after here.
It was.
I feel like you just want to see Azumi. You don't want to see what they're showing.
In some ways, it just, I don't know. It didn't really entertain me all that much. I was kind of sitting there like going, okay, yeah, I wish something would happen now. It's these characters that they were interesting, but I've seen them before. Yeah. So I really couldn't invest in them. Like, I was actually surprised to see Jeffrey Rush. Like, he's always, even with this film, he's always entertaining to see.
Well, I just saw him last night in a film he's probably going to get an Oscar nomination for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. And just going from that to here where he's playing the most generic role in westerns ever. Like, the old drunk who keeps wandering around, but he's the big actor, so he's got to have something more to do at some point. There's got to be some backstory we just don't know about. And this film is so lazy that it doesn't even really bother with a backstory per se. There's like a sentence to explain, well, he used to be a badass. And that's really all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
He promised someone he would never fire a gun again, but
Oh, wow. Yeah. I told my wife I wouldn't be this way again. I wouldn't do it. I changed my ways for her.
Once again, though, this is one of these things that it almost feels like it's joyfully indulging in the most obvious cliches at every turn, especially when it comes to the Western stuff. And I think that's part of the entertainment value for me. I mean,
depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah, one critic describes it. Look, I can give you my review and a synopsis of this film in